Hi, everyone. Just a quick note for you before we get to our actual interview about ransomware attacks. These type of attacks are on the rise, and more companies are opting to pay their criminals and not get authorities involved on many occasions. And this interview that we did here with the CFO of a small cabinet company, and we're going to refer to him just by his first name. His company chose not to go to authorities because of the value that was at stake, and also because they needed to immediately gain access to their network. So we hope that this firsthand account will help you better understand what ransomware attacks look like, and maybe give you some idea of how to better protect yourself in the future. Hi, everybody. Karen Roby here for Tech Republic and ZDNet. Companies of all sizes can fall victim to a ransomware attack, from huge hospital systems to just small mom and pop companies and everybody in between. And unfortunately, these type of attacks, they're on the rise. We talk about them here all of the time. Jason joining us now. Unfortunately, Jason, your company fell victim to a ransomware attack, and just adding insult to injury during this pandemic when we're already in a state of uncertainty. I can't even imagine how difficult this has been. Thanks for being with us. Just tell us, right off the top, what was the first notice you got that something was wrong? Did your systems just shut down? How did you first know what was going on?
Yeah, it's definitely been a new experience for a small company like ours. We're just eight PCs in a building that never thought something like this would even be possible. But we found out late on a Saturday night. My coworker got an email saying that, hey, you're under attack, and she didn't think it smelled right. Her husband's in IT as well, so we sent that to our contracted IT company that we use, and he said, yes, this is very real. And immediately, your heart sinks because it's 10:30 on a Saturday night, and you're like, excuse me, what? Like, we're under attack. What are you talking about?
Right.
Just unthinkable. But so we kind of managed our channels, went through our insurance company, and immediately took a look, and sure enough, all the PCs were locked down with a ransom note on. So,
Wow. I talk about your heart dropping for sure.
yeah,
Again, very small company, as you said, just
yeah.
eight PCs there that you're working with. So what did the note say specifically, or what were the demands?
All it really said on the initial lockdown screen basically just said, do not try and activate your computer. We have it under control. Please contact us. And there was a number, which was interesting. So we knew something was very wrong at that point. Our IT contact said, these guys are very real. We need to get your insurance company involved and get a strategy before we even think about trying to talk to these guys, because we want to make sure we have all our ducks in a row, because we got to do this right the first time. A lot of times, apparently, as we learned through this process, they don't always give you a second bite at the apple. So you want to make sure you get asked for everything at once.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you mentioned that you first went to your IT professional, who then went to the insurance company, and it kind of worked from there. So talk a little bit about once the insurance company got involved, and then I understand too, you got another third party involved. What did that process look like, and did you all also go to authorities from there?
Well, the first thing we thought about is, at least we're glad we're not a proprietary type of situation, healthcare, things like that, where people's personal information, proprietary designs, et cetera, things like that could get out and possibly damage people, which is the first thing they kind of mentioned to us, as you said, the third party that we spoke to, that were kind of acting as our agent between us and the hackers. They said, this is strange. You don't really have anything they can hold over your head other than just stopping your business. But we engaged them quickly. Ironically, they worked straight through on a Sunday to help us, and by Monday morning we were in full agreement, and they began the conversation with the hacker group to see what we could get done.
And I know in your all's case, as you mentioned, you don't have personal information. That's not the type of work you're in, with design and carpentry and things like that. So for you all, it was more of your systems were locked up, I understand, and
Yeah.
it's you can't make the decision not to agree to it, because you've got to get back to work.
Right. Exactly. That's the thing is, for the first time you kind of look at yourself and go, wow, we are totally reliant on our systems.
Hmm.
Luckily our machinery in the plant isn't connected to our network, but all the processes you use to tell that machine how to work are now a black screen and you can't do anything. And you find out very quickly that, you know, 25, men and women out in the thing that are used to being very good at their jobs are held hope, no ability to do their jobs because they don't even remember how to do it without that computer. And yeah, at that point, we just circled around and said, this isn't a matter of do we pay them? It's a matter of how do we pay them? Because if we don't pay them, we don't have a way out of this, and business just stops. So it's quite a scary situation.
Yeah, definitely. I can't imagine being in that position. So when it came down to it, Jason, how much did you all have to pay them to get back control of your systems?
Uh, Painfully $150,000. Their initial demand was 400,000.
Wow.
And from what we were told, this group rarely attacks companies because their initial demands are usually in the $1 million to $10 million range. So, coming after us for a half of their normal amount that they typically offer or excuse me, request, just adds to the fact of why us.
Right. I can only imagine. You're definitely scratching your head there. Did you all learn anything more? I know, obviously it's hard to pinpoint who these groups are made up of and where they're located, but was the company that you worked with, did they get any information as to who the hackers are, where they're operating out of?
Really, they just said they're very familiar with them, as sad as that sounds. And the interesting thing they pointed out was, you got lucky because this is a group that always does it. If you pay them, they give you your information back. So if you're going to get hacked, at least you got hacked by this group. Which, sad as that sounds now, we were somewhat bizarrely thankful for that. But just in their dealings with this group, and I guess through the processes they look at and things like that, they believe Eastern European, just the way they're acting, the way they, as far as they can trace the money, and then it disappears, obviously, but they believe Eastern European.
Okay. Yeah, who would have thought you'd actually be grateful that it was a particular group, a particular group?
Right, right.
uh, and
They,
and and it was explained to you the process that it was and payment through Bitcoin, obviously.
Right. The third party we contracted to kind of manage the ransom, so to speak. They kind of keep from what our understanding is, because of the challenges of sometimes getting the Bitcoin in that kind of volume. They keep a substantial amount of that in their resources, so they manage that whole process for us. Obviously that could be you're not aware of how to do that, and obviously 32 people in Kentucky don't typically know how to do that when we're used to manufacturing. So we were very thankful that they were around.
Right, right. And it very sad, unfortunately, that they even have to exist, that, that type
Right.
of group. And that just
Uh,
speaks to the volume, the amount of companies and organizations that are being hit by hackers like this, Jason. And I think it's interesting too. You told me this before we were actually recording that, uh, once that you guys had paid and you got your files and everything back online, that they were kind enough to offer you a 1-800 number just in case you needed
yeah.
help down the road.
Yeah. I mean, of anything that has made me laugh about this whole situation is just, the selective morality of, hey, we know we've robbed you of money and your files and held you at our whim. But by the way, we're here to help. 1-800 dot dot dot. It's like unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we held you hostage pretty much, but now
Yeah.
we'll help you out should you need it.
Yeah.
Get
We're
your
here for you.
exactly, exactly. Well, wrapping up here, Jason, this is cybersecurity is obviously something that is the utmost importance. We're talking about it all the time here on Tech Republic and ZDNet, and what companies need to do and being on top of things. And unfortunately, as we find most of the time, organizations are set up in a pretty strong position, but unfortunately, it's these emails that come through, the phishing emails, things that are sent through that oftentimes employees will click on, and they don't mean to do any harm, but we don't people don't always make the right decisions when it comes to
Right.
things they open.
Right. And that's, that's kind of what they've pinpointed is in our case is they said, look, for a small business of your size, your systems were good. Here's a handful of upgrades you might want to consider. But, chances are someone in your office just clicked an email, and unfortunately you can send it out, weekly if you want to say, guys, remember, don't do it. But there's always that one opportunity and something just looks real and one click and there you go.
Yep, unfortunately, it happens all too often, and a lot of people fall victim to that, Jason. Well, we really appreciate you talking, here with
Sure.
me today to share your story. I think if anything, it helps to put a face to, this real life situation that can impact anyone. So, thank you again for being with us,
Yeah.
and we appreciate all of you guys out there watching for much more on cybersecurity, what you need to do to keep your company safe. Make sure you check out Tech Republic and ZDNet. Bye-bye, everybody.